What's up, guys? Here we are, Central Park again, making a brand new video. And today, there's a very lean but mean topic. And it's about, what is reality, right? And that, trust me, I can go so deep, but there's this main core thing that I want to talk about. And I feel like if you can listen to these next couple minutes about this subject, then it should really change your perspective about life, right? Because a lot of us don't even know what reality is. I can tell you right now, I could guarantee 95% of the world who are having mental activity in their head don't live in reality, right? And you may be wondering, what are you talking about, Caesar? Every day I wake up on Earth. You may wake up on Earth, but are you actually living in reality, right? I want you to ask yourself this: how many times are you probably walking around and yeah, you can see almost as a blurred view what's ahead of you, but you're thinking about something that it's not even in front of you. Maybe something from the past, maybe something that someone said, maybe something that you want, how you want something to go in the future, right? There's always these certain things that we're always thinking about, but we're never looking at what's right ahead of us and not thinking and just observing, the smallest little details on everything, right? Like there's a beautiful bird down there that I guarantee a majority of people will just say, it's a fucking bird. What do you care about, right? But not me, right? I try, and again, I'm not perfect. Obviously, I pop the bubble every time I get into my thoughts because I'm aware that it is not my reality, and that's where I want to get into, right? So guys, in reality, there's one thing that I want you to understand, and please excuse me if I get wet here, not because of the knowledge, but because there's actually rain falling down right now, but we're going to get through this video. So in reality, there's only one emotion that's really powering through the world, and that is love, right? And the thing is, a lot of you are saying, no, but there's anger, there's anxiety, there's fear, there's all these bad things in the world, but I'm here to challenge you and tell you that, hey, those are actually just fake. They're made up. They are only real if you give power to them in your mind, right? And this is the thing, right? I had a student one ask, I asked him this question, right? Can you find another emotion but love in reality? And he said, anger. What if there's an angry mob out there, right? And I told this guy, I'm like, hey, you know what? That's pretty good, right? What if I see an angry mob outside? How is that not reality? The thing is, it takes multiple men to group together that are mad about something that they perceive in their head, right? And if it is produced in the head first and then it is materialized and then put onto the world, that is not, it wasn't that reality came with anger. It was that man created the anger in reality. It is that man took the anger of something, he had anger in his mind towards something, and he is now putting it onto earth, right? And that's what I want to really distinguish here, that reality is now. Not what you think about this certain politician, not what you think about your difference in religion, not that you're angry that someone spit in your food last week, right? These are all just opinions. These are all mental activity. These are all in your head first, can you see? But right here in the present moment, I can't find the anger, guys. And right, this is what I mean by what is reality. Reality means real. Reality means true. And if something is true, it must always be present. 2 plus 2 from, I don't know, since forever, and always will always be 2 plus 2, right? It doesn't depend on someone's opinion. It doesn't depend if you're mad at it. It doesn't depend on anything. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. But now, I was gonna say 2 plus 2 equals 5. Oh my God. But now, right, what is not true? Error thinking. And this is where I want you to start operating and saying, hey, was that error thinking that I was coming from? And what is error thinking? Error thinking in mathematical terms is 2 plus 2 equals 5. It's false. It can't calculate to come out to that, right? And that's how I want you to look at it. Reality, the present moment, you can only distinguish what is real in the moment, in the present moment now, and what is not. So look around and please find me anxiety right now. In this present moment, out there. The tree anxiety? No. Please find me lack. I can't find lack. I don't know where the sky ends. Please find me fear. Maybe if I jump in the water as my mind thinks, I might drown. But is that reality, or am I thinking of it, right? I must think of it. So it is perceived. And how do you perceive something? By first analyzing it, right? Because to be honest, I can swim, but in order for me to find something to be fearful about, I have to think about it in my head, imagine something that's not happening, and say, oh yeah, that's fearful, right? But let's get back to reality. What is true and what is forever present? Love. The love I have for you guys that I'm making videos, because I said, man, if I feel so good, if I'm living the best life I can imagine, if I'm the best shape, the best physique, the best everything, the best spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I must share this with you guys because I'm just filled with love, right? There's birds looking around, right? Let me just show you guys. I don't know if you can see them. They're chilling. I have an audience, yes. The birds love me. I have an audience, and there's birds just chilling, enjoying nature, finding food that Mother Earth always has for them, right? There's trees receiving rain, right? Sunlight, there's some sun out, but there's a whole system, right? It's raining because that's how a lot of things, generate food. There's seeds being planted somewhere that because of the rain, it's falling, and now the seed is going to grow, right? So that is beautiful how things are all operating in flow. What is love? And why is love the only power? Because if you can look around and say, wow, I only see perfection, and again, I want you to question that. Wow, Caesar is telling me that there's only perfection out here. Yes. How is it not? Oxygen that you feel like you're so entitled to breathe every second of your life. My heart is beating since the day I was born 25 years ago, and it has not stopped beating once, right? Perfection, a system. All my cells are operating without me even thinking. I'm not telling my cells and my mitochondria, my nucleus cell, and it's been a long time that I've been in science class, so I can name all of them. One more. My cell membrane, right? Yeah, my cell. I'm not controlling my cells, basically, right? Let me get away from science, but that is where you have to think about the science of things. Science knows about only. It only knows about, but where did it all come from, right? And that is the perfection that you guys are ignoring. And something to be perfect must be created with love, right? And then it goes deeper. If something created all of this perfection, that thing that created all of this must not be weak or limited or retarded. Something that comes out a certain way, the creator must be of that nature, right? So all my cells operating every second, billions of cells just automatically working, all my organs operating without me even have to think about it. That seems very intelligent to me. And that's what they say in the Bible. You were created in the same image as God, right? And God to me is love. Because can you describe how beautiful this is? Rain falling, ducks swimming, turtles swimming around. Everything is perfect. It's full of love here. People, couples walking around. It is always present. Let me get back to that point. Now, someone here is probably watching this video and is having a bad mood about something. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you're sad about something, it is because you're thinking about some negative thing. You are not present. And here, look, at the snap of my fingers, I want you to be present. Do you have any problems? No, you do not. You do not. Because problems, or something you're fearful about, or something you're feeling anxious or feeling worried about, only exists if you're thinking about it, right? So if you're not thinking about it and you're here in this present moment, everything is perfect, right? So this is something that you can utilize throughout the day. When you are waking up, when you are walking around, when you are thinking of business, right? Because a lot of us, right, where I come from, and when I say where I come from is from the brotherhood community, a lot of us are very anxious when we're doing business. A lot of us are thinking about what's next, what must get done, what if I'm not good enough, and all these things. But all I tell you is to be present. Be present, because then all those fear, doubts, and negative limiting beliefs do fade away. Why? Because only truth can correct error, right? That's like saying you've been thinking 2 plus 2 equals 5 this whole time, but then the truth is 2 plus 2 equals 4, and then it fades away. Now you're true. Now you're correct, right? So when you are present in the only reality, right, and that's what I want you to understand, now is the only reality, everything is okay. And that is what you should train yourself to be living in, the only reality. And once you understand that, once you grasp that here in this only reality, only love exists, and now you can think about this, right? Wow, if only love exists right now, if only perfection exists right now, what falls under that? Positive thoughts of love. When you're doing business, you put your love into your business. When you think of other people, you think of loving ways of people, right? When you see someone maybe struggling in the gym, you go ahead and help them out of love, right? Because some of us, right, I'll be honest, not too long ago, I would see someone struggling in the gym and I'd be like, what a fucking retard. Get off the machine, buddy, I want to work, right? But, this is where you start to apply this, and this is my biggest, hope that you can start to do. You can start to apply this technique to get closer to the truth. Because it's not that's right or wrong. You're still living, you're still going to be alive. But let me tell you this. You've been living in error all your life. And this ego voice is always thinking of pessimistic ways to think of anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, limitation. Am I wrong? When you think of business, when you think of, having a relationship, when you think of your beauty or your dream life, what are the immediate thoughts that come to mind? Right? And that is error right there, because those immediate thoughts are all the ways that the ego can use its mechanism to say, hey, you know what? It's going to go wrong here. It's not going to work here. What about this, right? It looks at all the ways that it's going to go wrong. But is that reality? No. And where does that come from? Is that reality? Does that exist? No, it does not exist. It only exists up here. Meaning that the only reason that this doubt, worry, anxiety that you have for your business or whatever you want to do in life, the only reason it's real is because it's real in your mind and you give it attention. And because you give it attention, what is it doing? Mind is matter materialized, right? Mind is matter materialized. So when you have this image of all these doubts and anxieties and how it's not going to work and all these, error thinking, it does become your reality, right? So I ask you now, let go of that error thinking, be present, and understand that there is only one reality, and it's love. Because then I want you to swap it out. Think about your business, think about relationships, think about whatever you want, and apply love to it. Can it go wrong? No. Why? Can it go wrong? It can only go wrong if you think. But can it go wrong here in this present moment if you're not thinking and you understand that the only thing that exists right now is love and perfection? Right? And even if something does not succeed temporarily, there is no doubt. There is no fear. There is no worry. There is no anxiety. You just keep persisting and saying, hey, you know what? Everything does work out because there's only love. If there's something that tells me it's not going to work, or it's I should try something else, or that I'm not capable of doing it, it is only my ego mind. And that is what you fall for more than understanding what reality is. But the fact is, right, when you are present, there's nothing to tell you that it's not going to work. And that is what you're living in more, perfection. Meaning that the things you do, everything you look at, comes out in form of perfection instead of error thinking, which is the ego mind. Right? And it's very simple. You can switch and alternate between two lives. You can sit there having mental activity and just thinking, but you're never living in reality. And that to me sounds like hell, right? I don't believe that hell is in some afterlife. I feel like hell can be created here on earth. Why? Because if all you're doing is listening to your ego mind produce how everything is going to go wrong and how you're not good enough and all these things, what is that going to produce in the external world? Mediocre results, scarcity, lack, fear. Then you start to project all these things into your reality. But what if you alternate to the other life? Heaven on earth, where you're present in the moment and you say, hey, you know what? In this present moment, only good exists. I have unlimited potential. There's an abundance of life. There's love everywhere. People love me. I love people, right? When you get into that headspace, what is the probability of you succeeding versus the other reality that you're living in, of thinking and producing all these limited negative thoughts, right? Like, a bird is singing right now and I feel like, wow, how lucky am I, right? And this is why some people live in abundance and others live in lack. This is why some people live a courageous life and this is why some others live a fearful life, right? It's not because of how life is. It is because how you view life. So I tell you to take off your ego glasses, take them off, because that's what you're seeing life through. Error glasses, glasses that puts an illusion into your reality and distorts it. And I ask you to not put on new glasses, but see reality for what it is. Love and perfection. Be present right now, and all your problems are gone. The moment you start thinking about what's wrong, don't you think that is what makes it wrong? But when you're present right now, everything is perfect. There's no tomorrow. There's no past. There's no future. You're living here right now and everything is all right. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling fearful, if you're feeling doubt, if you're feeling worry, or maybe you feel like you're going to sin, right? Such as, going to go do drugs, or maybe you're going to open up porn. I tell you again, it is because you're feeding those thoughts. And I ask you to be present. And then you start to feel love. Then you start to wonder, why is it when I become present, all error starts to fade away, all problems start to go away? And that is because in the present moment, that is where you feel the presence of God. So if you really want to be living in reality with God, I tell you to be present right now and practice it. Because I'm not going to tell you, hey, yeah, just turn off the switch. No, all your life you've been living in this ego world. So teach yourself how to be in the present moment, and you will see how everything starts to flow, because you are no longer predicting or analyzing and forcing things to happen. You're letting love flow through you. You have so much faith in this universe that in the present moment, you don't need to think about anything, because you know everything will flow naturally for you. And that, to me, is what faith in God is. Now ask yourself, how much faith in God do you have? Be present and show me and show yourself how much faith you have in God. God bless.